DonnaLee Blankenship. You may recognize me from the Pelham Living fun city segments that I get to do, but my real job, my day job, is at Blankenship Farms. I'm the owner of Blankenship Farms, and we do a lot of fun projects here. Mainly I make pottery. My husband's a beekeeper, and we sell honey. My daughter makes soaps and lip balms, and it's a lot of fun. We enjoy it. I make stoneware pottery. There's a lot of different ways to make pottery. There's a lot of different ways to work with clay. There's coil building, where you roll out the little squigglies and swirl it around and make all kinds of coil things. I do some of that. There's slab building, where you hammer out your clay and roll it out with a rolling pin or a slab roller, and so you have a nice even flat piece of clay, and drape it or hump it over something or cut out shapes with it. That's mainly what I do. There's wheel throwing, and that's what's always interesting to watch, and that's where it's on the wheel, it's spinning really fast, and you start with a lump of clay and then you pull it up and make the beautiful vessels out of that. I'm learning that process. That one takes a lot of skill, so I'm still learning that one. But I mainly make slab-built, hand-built pottery that's both functional, like a lot of platters, things that you would use in the kitchen, ornaments, things for Christmas that you would hang on the tree, some vases. I don't like mugs. I don't do mugs. There's so many people that do mugs, but not me. And a lot of some dinnerware and just fun serving pieces are my favorite things to make. I've always loved art. Art is just fascinating to me. There's so many different mediums. There's so many different things that you can make, and I love painting. I love everything. But I really got interested in pottery in 2010. I took my first wheel class. I'd always wanted to do it, and I tried it and loved it. I took it at the Shelby County Arts Council in Columbiana, and they have a fabulous facility. You need to check them out if you're interested in taking classes. And I just took one class and then another class and another class, and I was hooked, and I ended up going with hand building instead of the wheel, just because that's a real skill you have to develop. So I do have a wheel and I do practice, and I hope one day to be really good at it, but I love the hand building. And there's so much you can do with hand building. You can roll textures in, you can do lots of things with hand building you can't do with wheel work, or it's harder to do with wheel work. So I really enjoy that. But I love painting, I love all kinds of arts and crafts. Pinterest is my best friend. I love looking up things on Pinterest and trying new things, so it's a lot of fun. Well, as I began the process of learning pottery, I ended up making a lot of things. And once you have a lot of things, then you have to put it somewhere. And I was very excited about everything I made, so I took a lot of pictures and posted on Facebook and Instagram. Look what I made, this is so cool. And people started noticing them and asking, well, can you make me one? Can you make me one? So I started trying to duplicate what I was making. I made a lot more things, but I ended up with a lot of stuff. And so I started going to things like the Pelham or to craft and art fairs and setting up a booth and selling it, just because I don't need all that stuff, but other people seem to like it. So I started doing that, and at Pelham is where I met Paige from Gifted, and Gifted's right here in Pelham, and she was the first store that said, hey, why don't you come set up a booth at my store and have your pottery there. So I love working with Paige at Gifted. She's been so good to me. She was the first store. Now I'm in 6 stores, and I do special orders all over the United States. People will contact me off of social media, and I'll make something and ship it off. And it's a lot of fun. It's amazing to me that anybody wants to buy something I made, but I really love making things, and my husband really loves that I'm selling them, and so they're not all here. I get to send them out somewhere, and it's been a great hobby that sort of turned into a business accidentally, but I love it. I love it. So the process I use for making a finished piece of pottery and the slab work process is I start out with a bag of clay, a 25-pound bag of clay. I cut off what I need, I pound it out, I take it over to the slab roller, which is basically a giant rolling pin, and I roll it flat. Then I add texture to it, or decorative work I add to it, cut it out in the shape I need, form it the way I need, let it dry. After it's completely bone dry, it's called greenware. You take the greenware, put it in the kiln, fire it up to about 1900, 2000 degrees, and that's called bisqueware. The bisqueware is really porous, and it holds the glaze, and you're able to handle it without it being fragile. So I paint the glaze on. The glaze looks nothing like what it's going to look like in the finished piece, but it's a fascinating process. So I paint the glaze on, I take it back out to the kiln, put it in, it goes up to about 2100 degrees, for a final firing, and that final firing is a chemical reaction with the glaze and the heat, and it comes out in a beautiful, shiny, glossy glaze color. It vitrifies, and that's how you end up with a beautiful piece of pottery. You can find Blankenship Farms on Instagram. We have a great Instagram page with lots of our pictures. That's our main place, at B Farms Pottery, or Blankenship Farms Pottery. And you can find us on Facebook at Blankenship Farms, Twitter, LinkedIn, pretty much anywhere.